Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties. The stream messed up, whatever. So we're gonna get back to what we're talking about. We're talking about the Rams and how bad the quarterback looked the other day. So I want you guys' thoughts on kind of why the Rams looked as bad as they did. Was it because the 49ers had a great defense and they're better than what we thought they were going to be this season? Because of this whole situation with the Kaepernick thing, that's pretty much the main story for the 49ers this season. Or do you think that the Rams are just that bad? And if that quarterback is as bad as he is, then they're better off just playing Jared Goff because it can't get any worse than that, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say that it's a little bit of both. I mean, the Niners defense is definitely nowhere as good as it used to be. Like 2 3 years ago, they were actually like one of the top defenses in the league. They could go toe to toe with Seattle's defense and do just as good, like before. But nowadays, not so much. They still do have a lot of defensive star power on there. DeVar Bowman, Eric Reed's not so bad anymore. He's actually getting a lot better than before, and I think he's one of the best players right now on the defense for the Niners. And I'm forgetting the other guys out there at the moment, but yeah, and I mean the Rams have really nothing to lose. They don't have a real shot at making the playoffs, which I think everyone can agree with. They should definitely just try to go play Jared Goff. I mean, if they really think he's the quarterback of the future, they'd play him.
Yeah, I mean, you picked him first overall, and you play a quarterback, Case Keenum, which I didn't think he was that bad, but shoot, like, I mean, he's awful. I mean, I just was shocked to see how bad he really was out there. I was like, man, like, you gotta, change something up, and the coach should be fired. I mean, he really should because he shouldn't be having this type of offense be out on the field, especially with a new team. And the team hasn't scored a single touchdown yet. I mean, they haven't scored a touchdown in 20 years since LA had a team. So it's just ridiculous, like how bad they are. And I want your thoughts, Brandon. Do you think that the Rams can turn this thing around, or do you think that they might as well just tank and try to pick up another quarterback because for whatever reason they don't think that Jared Goff is the quarterback for him? I mean, I think he'll play eventually this season because the fans will get restless and they want to see how good or bad the quarterback really is. But I feel like the coach is doing the same thing he did with Vince Young. Remember Vince Young? He didn't give the full reins to him either. So I don't know if he just doesn't like rookie quarterbacks or what. I mean, he doesn't. He's just afraid to play him. But I just feel like Jeff Fisher. I mean, if he doesn't find the problem real fast, he's gonna be gone. So
Um, well, not St. Louis anymore. Los Angeles' situation is really weird to me. Um, I mean, you're a team that was like, okay, we had our times in St. Louis, but we want to go back to Los Angeles. We want to go to the big, bright lights, in California. We're ready to be prime time. We got the first pick, right? And we choose Jared Goff, and you don't start him. You start on your depth chart. You're on Monday night for your opening game. Um, Jeff Fisher has been on record saying adamantly, we will not be that 7-9 team anymore. We're making that next step. And I know they played in San Francisco, but
they're
I
gonna be worse this year. I mean, I
I
think.
don't understand what happened. I mean, give San Francisco's defense that credit because like Paulo was saying, they do have some star power. It's nowhere near where it once was, but they still have some playmakers, that need to be given their credit. But my God, I mean, I only caught some of the game. I was out playing basketball that night, and then I went somewhere to eat to a pizza joint with some of my friends, and I saw the game on. And we're watching it, and I'm looking at Los Angeles' defense. I mean, offense, and it's pathetic. Like they cannot move the ball. I mean, they're struggling to even get to a first down. I mean, I remember. I mean, I only caught the end of the second quarter and it's the beginning of the second half. But I remember like the biggest play I saw was a punt return from Tavon Austin when he got through two guys and then he made a guy miss on the punt return team from San Francisco and he took it all the way to the right and he went out of bounds. But even at that point, I mean, when he got him in good position, they didn't even score. I mean, I know they played really well defensively, San Francisco, and I know they don't have a lot of weapons in Los Angeles, but this is an offensive driven league. This is a passing game league. I mean, and they got no points. No points. I think I read a statistic. This is like the first shutout on Monday Night Football since 2009. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. That's the first shutout on Monday Night Football since 2009. I mean, 0 points. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think that Alabama, this current Alabama team, could beat this Rams team. That's how bad this team
I
looked. I
can see it. I can see it. I don't know. That's just. I'm not expecting you to, even regardless of Jeff Fisher saying we're not a 7-9 team. I don't even expect you to go past 8-8. I mean, you draft a quarterback and third on. I mean, now officially today, I guess they bumped him up to second. Big news. But I mean, I don't get it. Like, how do you put up 0 points?
He's not going to last a full year. I think he's going to be gone by week 8. That's what I think. I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, the 49ers could be way better than what I think they are.
I mean,
And
but it's so hard to even see that. I mean, they played divisional foe, but tell me what if I mean, unless they're back home, maybe against San Francisco, but tell me how they're winning a game in this division. I don't think they're beating Arizona.
no, then
Definitely don't see them beating Seattle. I don't care if Seattle put up a lot of numbers themselves. I mean, Miami, they played a tough Miami defense, but I don't. How you win a game in your division? So don't even think they're getting the win in the division. And I don't have their schedule in front of me. I haven't seen it. I haven't given it a look. But just by the teams I watched this weekend, I mean, who can they beat? I'm sorry. Like, who can you? If you're trying to think of teams that they have a chance against, and the way they played, I know it's really because of San Francisco's defense, but I mean the way they played, just on all sides of the ball. I mean their defense didn't play well either, and they usually that's what keeps them afloat is their defense. It actually keeps them somewhat competitive, even though they don't really ever have a 500 or winning record in recent memory. And if that they played that bad against Blaine Gabbert's the starter for San Francisco.
yep.
Still, I mean, I think Kaepernick is still more talented. I think he should be the starter, but obviously Chip Kelly has his way of running his offenses, and he thinks he knows best. So he has Blaine Gabbert. But come on, 28-0 is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's crazy, but we'll let it play out. We'll see, how everything works out for him. But I want to talk about probably the best story of the whole weekend, and that is the NBA players that got enshrined into the Hall of Fame. We got AI, we had Shaq, the Diesel, the Big Diesel, and then we also have Yao Ming, who is probably the biggest star outside of anyone in the U.S. Because I mean, Yao Ming was huge. I mean, people questioning Yao Ming if he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, all that type of stuff. But I think he did because it's not an NBA Hall of Fame. It is the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. So it's a whole body of work. It's the same reason why I think players like Manu Ginobili would be in the Hall of Fame, even though if it was the NBA Hall of Fame, he'd probably be a teetering Hall of Fame player. He'd probably get in, but he wouldn't be probably a first ballot or even a second ballot Hall of Famer. So I want your thoughts on what do you think of the acceptance speeches for both Shaq and AI that you heard?
I mean, I didn't get to see them fully, but I did catch some clips from both. Um, Obviously, two great players. And when it comes to being in front of a microphone, they're not shy. And Shaq was telling a story about back when he was with the Lakers and with Kobe, and he had Phil Jackson as the coach, and Phil was a preacher of having his players meditate before games or at practice or even on off days. And he says it wasn't marijuana, Phil Jackson, but Shaq says that he believes it was something close. And I think he said, what is this? I think he asked him, what is this, Phil? And he said, oh, is this marijuana? Is this weed? And he said, no, it's like the cousin of it. And but I mean, he'd have that in the locker rooms to have them meditate, to calm down. I thought that was funny, because even at this point, Shaq, he's not an NBA player, obviously getting a shine, but I mean, he's still very relevant in the media. But obviously you could tell, he's not afraid to say anything. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care about being PG. And with AI, I caught the clip. And he was I mean, we all know the infamous play with him and Tyronn Lue, obviously.
Yep, they played
And what a
over
lot
and
of
over.
people don't know is, oh, he was so disrespectful to him. He doesn't like him, whatever. People don't realize, and they've both been on record, kind of right after that play happened in the next few years. I mean, they're friends. They're really good friends with each other. And I think AI was telling a story about the following year after that play had happened in the finals, or one of the following years afterwards when Tyronn Lue had signed with Washington. And they're both at the free throw line because one of the players got fouled and they're ready to box each other out. And then AI says, the only reason you got this big deal is because, you had a history of chasing me around and playing solid defense on me. And he's like, yeah, I know. Thank you. Joking around. I mean, they can still be joking with each other, and I thought those were two cool moments, because it really brings you behind the scenes of, what happens on the everyday, day to day, or even within the game. Get to see, So that was pretty cool from both of them, and it was about damn time, they got enshrined into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, yeah, most definitely. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, one of my favorite players was AI. Like, behind Michael Jordan, it was AI because AI was had such a tough time just getting into the league. Because I don't know if you remember, but he got in some trouble in high school, and he was a big time football star. You know, and John Thompson, he took a chance on him because when he got in all that trouble, nobody wanted to pick him up. And John Thompson, from Georgetown, the legend, the late great John Thompson, he did what most other coaches weren't able to do, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna take a risk on you because his mama put in a good word for him. And I was like, like ever since that day when I heard that story, I was like, man, like I'm rooting for this kid because we need more people to support us in our endeavors because as African Americans or as minorities or whatever race or color you are, we just don't get as many opportunities as white people do in America, in corporate America. And you see the same thing with all these things, all these people talking about Colin Kaepernick because right now we got people. Brandon Marshall. I mean, he lost a bunch of endorsement deals because he was kneeling when the national anthem was playing. And that's another reason why a lot of these athletes are afraid to speak up. Like Cam Newton's afraid to speak up. You got people like Shaq. He's kind of catering to corporate America instead of speaking his mind on issues. And you even had Lil Wayne saying that there's no racism in America, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like I dare Lil Wayne to come where in these small towns where I'm from and tell me that because I guarantee you if he went to Sand Springs, Oklahoma, he would not be saying those things because if you go to that place, it's like going back to the '60s, and so I just don't understand why so many people are scared to lose money. But I guess it comes with the territory. Some people aren't scared. Like Kaepernick's not scared. He's making millions of dollars. He doesn't care about that type of stuff, and he'll make more money at the back end anyways. You see how he's probably more famous now than he ever was while he was in the league, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could say that. I mean, like he has two big careers. I mean, he has obviously his playing career, and he obviously has his afterwards being on TNT with the rest of the guys. So you could say he's really versatile. And I mean that's always just made him a cool character. I mean, I'm a fan of both their games, but obviously by the time I started watching basketball, I caught the second half of Shaq's dominance. And when AI was kind of bouncing around from the end of his Denver days in Memphis and stuff like that. So I've really just seen the clips of how he would dominate. But I do know the impact that both those players have had on our league. So it's pretty cool to see them finally get, their shine. Even though they had plenty of their accolades throughout their years playing.
Yeah, most definitely. Shaq, if he would have stayed, consistent with his dominance, because he was one of the most dominant actually the most dominant center in the game for a few years. And if he would have been as dedicated at getting better at his craft, like say, a Tim Duncan or even a Hakeem Olajuwon, the Dream Olajuwon, he probably would have been the best center of all time. People forget about that. Like, he was nearly unstoppable. Like no center could stop him. You know, in that I think that 2003 run, I think that time period, like he was nearly invincible. Like it was crazy to watch. Like I want kids, that are trying to play center to watch that film because centers nowadays are soft. Like they're nowhere near as good as they were back in those days. Shaq, his days, or even before that. With you had David Robinson, you had Tim Duncan, you had Karl Malone. These are all bigs. That were dominant. In their respective positions at power forward or center. And it's just crazy to me how the league is so different now. It's more of a finesse league now than it was back in the day.
Definitely. I mean, even Shaq's early days in Orlando, those were pretty crazy. I mean, I didn't get to watch any personally because I was too young at the time to remember things. But you watch the highlights later on, and I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Shaq and Penny, yeah.
Yeah, Shaq and Penny were a great combo. I'm pretty sure I think it was one game he broke the rim from a dunk, like
Hmm.
as playing as a Magic. Like that's something else. We don't know what the circumstance
I
behind
mean,
like the
he's the reason
how
why he's one of the bigger reasons they had to change to basketball support.
yeah,
You know,
but still get it.
But yeah, I mean it's crazy how their careers ended the way they did. Shaq, he got a ring. Leaving LA, even Kobe pretty much forced him out of LA. He was probably salty for years about it. We know about this. And then at the Hall of Fame ceremony, he finally squashed the beef officially. Like, I mean, I feel like it was squashed maybe a few years back, but we finally publicly see that he has no ill will towards Kobe. They're both retired. They both were young when this all happened, and they respect the hell out of each other's games. And then AI, he never won a ring, but it was impressive that he was able to beat that Lakers team one time in the NBA Finals. Like that was probably the most impressive thing that I remember from AI. If he wouldn't have faced that Lakers team, I mean, he probably would have won a ring. But he didn't win a ring, but he's in the Hall of Fame. Great player, top 50 all time great player in my eyes. And I wish them the best, and I hope that you know AI, when he gets that money from Adidas, because he got that money. He gonna get 50 million from Adidas when he's 55, I believe. Hopefully he spends it right, and he helps people in the community, like I know he's been doing, in the past. So I appreciate what they both are doing for the game of basketball, and I hope more people watch their games so that they can be inspired by what they can do instead of what they're seeing nowadays with some of these players that are lazy and maybe not fulfilling their potential. But we're gonna stop the show right there, and next week we're gonna talk about more stuff. We're gonna talk about all the big games that happened over the weekend, and also before we go, what are your social media handles for people that want to find you in case they missed you at the beginning of the show?
Oh, I mean, I normally just use my Facebook. I don't really go on social media, so just look my name up on Facebook. I'll probably pop up. Same thing. You could look at any of my articles on the realsport101.com website. And we are all writers on there, so you can check all of us out, read our articles. We got some good stuff on there for you.
and I mean, you can, like Paolo said again, we're all three of us are on Real Sport. It's a up and coming website over about the last 9 months or so. I'm not exactly sure. But I know we're a young site, but we are on the come up, and we do appreciate your support watching us every week. See us obviously on the website, read some of our work, and you can follow me on Instagram at BZEZ, the decimal point, and then the number two.
All right, and you can follow me on my social media at my Twitter at Cam Perry 21. You also can follow me on Instagram at CP Scott 1, and you also can follow me on my Snapchat at Cam Perry TV. And also, I'm on Real Sport as well. We appreciate you guys watching us every week. We're getting better and better at our shows. I think this week's show is probably our best show we've done so far. Like I said, I continue to thank all you guys for it. We appreciate it. And next week we're gonna have a great show, and we're probably gonna have a giveaway. So stay tuned for that show. And also keep sending questions because we want to get your questions so we can find out kind of what we maybe can talk about that maybe we missed the previous week. So keep those questions coming. We'll read them. And you can email them at thecam18@gmail.com, or you can email them at djcam25@gmail.com. I'll read the emails from either one of those emails, and we'll definitely get back to you. So we appreciate it, and bye.
Peace
See you
out.
next week.